Hi everyone, my name is John Dinsmore. I'm the Usher Assistant Professor in Digital Health and a Deputy Director of the Trinity Centre for Practice and Healthcare Innovation at the School of Nursing and Midwifery at Trinity College Dublin. And in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to give a very brief overview of my experience in leading an EU project. I've been very fortunate under Horizon 2020 to secure 3 awards, 2 as coordinator, that being PROACT and CERO. And PROACT was the starting point for my involvement in leading an EU project. We were secured in 2015, we started 2016, we received 4.87 million to develop a digital platform to enable older adults to self-manage at home with multimorbidity. It was a hugely successful project, and what you can see here in this image is that the outputs from that project have enabled us to secure further awards at both national and EU level. That's included a Marie Curie ITN. There are 5 academic partners, Trinity's 1, and CERO, which will see the PROACT platform move from proof of concept testing to large-scale trials. I've included the links here, and in the interest of time, I'd advise if you could explore the links, you can see what the projects are about and how they interlink. So to get to the focus of this presentation, what's involved in leading a project. Firstly, time. The commitment is significant, so make sure you have the capacity. Your role as coordinator is to, see all the moving parts of the grant and bring it together. And there are a lot of moving parts in these big grants, so that takes a lot of time and commitment to do that. The second point is people management, and I think this is the most important factor. In PROACT, we had 54 people across 12 organizations in 6 member states. So your ability to manage at a local level, but also at an EU level, keep everyone committed, understand the politics and dynamics of your partner organizations, and help them in the implementation of the action or the project, as well as get through challenging periods, is hugely important. That comes to my third point, your problem solving ability. If you're funded, your work program's solid. So it's probably factors outside of that will impact. In our case, in PROACT's case, it was Brexit. One partner shut up activity in the UK, and we had to transition work to the Netherlands. So the team changed, and that caused challenges at that period in the project, and we had to work through that. So linking in with your project officer and maybe national contact points to support you in these processes is hugely important. And it worked in the end, and again, PROACT was a success. And then my final point, communication momentum. These projects happen over a number of years, setting your standards for what you expect from the consortium, when meetings will happen, when deliverables will be expected, the level and standard that you expect of those deliverables is really important. So set that standard early, set the communication processes early. In my consortia, I like to have weekly technical and research meetings. It seems like a lot, but the partners actually work with it. Not everyone has to attend. As long as somebody from the organization attends and feedback and give updates, it seems to work really well and keep everyone on board. So advice if you're considering leading a project in Horizon Europe, find a mentor if it's your first time. It will save a lot of pain in terms of understanding the processes. Know the call inside out, including the frequently asked questions and any related documents that are on the website. Choose your partners wisely. Big red flag for me is if they're not contributing to the proposal and you drag them through, the chances are you might struggle with them if you're awarded. Keep calm and focused, particularly in terms of applications. You'll get a lot of thoughts, a lot of input. As coordinator, your role is to structure the vision and make sure that you're happy with it in terms of moving forward, because that's what you will be awarded to do. So you have to be confident in that vision and your ability to deliver it. Use the support of your finance, research and legal offices in your institutions, your national contact point. And once you're awarded the grant, or if you're awarded the grant, establish a good relationship with your project officer. Lead by example on the grant as well as in the project. So as a coordinator, I find you're writing most of the application. It could be 80 to 90% of the application. You're getting input, but you structure it, you write it. It takes, I think, one person to keep the narrative consistent. And in terms of the grant, if you're awarded, I always make sure our organization leads the first deliverables. So we'll set the standard and everyone else will then see that. Be organized from the beginning, have good project management in place, and as I said, that helps with communication and keeping that momentum, and set that high standard early and never drop from it. That would be my advice. And then finally, what are the benefits of getting involved in an EU project? Well, definitely advancing your research career at an international level is a fantastic opportunity. It'll help develop your research expertise, with the consortium and all the expertise and of all the partners that comes on board, but also your research management ability and from legal and finance and all these other perspectives, not to mention your grant writing, because if you secured it, I mean, you've done extremely well, and that will stand forward, or that will help you forward, sorry, in terms of applying for future grants. Advancing your career, I mean, the peer recognition of achieving or securing a large award, the publications and outputs, and we've a lot coming from PROACT and related projects at the minute. You'll expand your network, which will help you then apply for other awards and find other opportunities. And that includes, for example, for us, we're spinning out now some of the IP created in the project, which as an academic is hugely exciting. And then finally, as a coordinator, it's personal development. It will build your confidence. It's a hugely challenging thing to do. You'll deal with pressure and problems at different levels, working with different people across different cultures. So being able to do that and lead on that, you'll learn a lot. And I think just, it's an incredible experience. It's tough, but it's incredible. And I wish you all the best in terms of anyone applying for awards under the new calls. And with that, I'll wrap up. My contact details are here if anyone wishes to get in touch if they have any queries. Thank you very much.
I'm Ella Arendsman. I'm Professor of Public Mental Health with the School of Public Health, University College Cork, and I'm also Chief Scientist with the National Suicide Research Foundation Ireland. In 2019, my colleagues and I were successful in being awarded a large-scale EU Horizon 2020 grant, an application that was submitted under the health program with a particular focus on the call mental health in the workplace. We refer to this new project as Mentop, Mental Health Promotion and Intervention in Occupational Settings. And this is a very large-scale project, including 13 European countries, but also Australia. There are a number of unique elements of Mentop, and one is that we focus particularly on sectors where we have seen high levels of mental health issues and also suicidal behavior, such as construction, the health sector, but also the ICT sector. In addition, we focus very specifically on small and medium enterprises, SMEs, because overall they do have very limited resources and supports when it comes to health and safety, but also for mental health supports and resources. There are a number of unique elements of Mentop, and one is that we specifically distinguish between intervening in relation to mild to moderate mental health issues, mild to moderate depression and anxiety. But on the other hand, we also have developed resources for more severe clinical disorders, severe depression and severe anxiety. Another unique element of Mentop is that we don't only focus on employees, but we also focus on health and safety officers, supervisors and managers. So we would like to focus on all important levels in an organization. Why did I apply in 2018 when the whole process started? So over many years, my colleagues and I have been working in the area of mental health and have applied to many different grants at EU level, going back as far as FP6, FP7, but also under the DJ Senko program. And in addition, with my colleagues in the European Alliance Against Depression, EAD, we have been successful in multiple grant applications over many years. And in this, we have also built very close links with colleagues in EAD in different relevant disciplines for these types of mental health applications. In addition, then, for this particular call, we had clear evidence that there were high levels of suicide and other mental health issues, particularly for the sectors in the work sectors in construction, health and ICT. So we felt that there was an urgency to start applying under this EU call. So this represented an important motivation for us to apply. Now, the specific health call in 2018 and 2019 was a two-stage process. So we first had the preparation of a number of months working towards an expression of interest, which was still very significant. And I would always be in favor of this two-stage process, because the advantage is that even though it's an important investment, after a few months, you know whether you can go through or not through the next phase, but also you have an opportunity to receive helpful feedback with which you can then improve the application for the second stage, the final stage. Another important positive experience has been to work with a project management company. This has been very beneficial in terms of assistance, but also speeding up the work in terms of preparing such a large-scale application. So ideally, with a project management company, they will take care of a lot of the administrative aspects, but also planning. So you as a researcher can focus very specifically on the scientific content and also issues that relate to excellence. So what do we hope to achieve with this important project, the Mentop project? We hope to achieve a greater insight into mental health promotion programs, its implementations, but also its effectiveness in relation to SMEs in these different work sectors. But overall, I also very much hope that the Mentop project will make a significant contribution to reducing stigma relating to mental health, and then particularly in the workplace. In many countries where we're working with the Mentop project, there are still high levels of stigma, which do prevent employees and others in a company to seek help in a timely manner. So we very much hope that with Mentop, we can make a difference.
Hello everyone, my name is John Kelleher, and today I'm going to talk to you about my experience and some of my advice in relation to European funding. To give you some background on who I am a computer scientist at Technological University Dublin, where I'm the academic leader of the ICE Research Institute. I'm also a co-principal investigator at the Adapt Research Centre and in the Centre for Research Training in Digitally Enhanced Reality. And finally, and most relevantly for today, I am a work package lead on the Horizon 2020 Precise4Q project. My research is in the area of artificial intelligence. Originally, this focused on dialogue systems and human-robot interaction, but for the last 10 to 15 years, I focused on machine learning and natural language processing. The project I'd like to talk to you about today is the Precise4Q project, which is focused on using machine learning to create clinical decision support systems for the treatment of stroke. The consortium of partners involved in this project are from across Europe, and I became a partner in this consortium through teaching a machine learning course at one of these partners, where I met an academic who was involved in preparing the proposal. And after the course, they invited me to join the group and help in preparing the project. The project involves creating machine learning clinical decision support systems for the different stages of stroke, including prevention, acute treatment, rehabilitation, and reintegration. And at TU Dublin, we're leading the development of models across all these 4 stages. My advice in relation to European funding would begin by recognizing the fact that Precise4Q was the first grant that I secured significant funding through, but it certainly wasn't the first one I applied for. In fact, it wasn't the first one that the consortium applied for. We had actually identified a target call the year before and applied for that. We got close to the bar, but weren't successful. And so we took the feedback from that application and identified a new target the following year. And using that feedback, improved our application and reapplied. And we secured the funding on that second attempt. So the first piece of advice I would talk to you about is, I would say, if you don't succeed, reuse the proposal. Try to identify a similar call use the feedback to improve the application, and then reapply. The other pieces of advice I'd give you are, first, I'd focus on working with the best possible partners. The stronger your consortium is, the more likely it is to succeed and be funded. And the second aspect I would talk to you about is look to work with people who complement your research, rather than people who do the same research as you. So in our proposal in Precise4Q, we're the main computer science department, and most of the other partners are clinicians. So this makes it very easy for us to identify complementary research with these partners. More generally, being an academic, you need to get used to failure, for applying to things and being rejected. So I'd advise you to be ready to be persistent and be resilient. Also be ambitious, target working with the best people possible, and seek people who are complementary to your research. I'd also advise you to focus on your trajectory rather than the success of others. It can be very disheartening to focus in on everyone else's success. Remember, they have different opportunities to you, so try to focus on how you're progressing in your own career. I'd also say that writing a large-scale proposal takes a lot of time, but it isn't successful purely based on whether or not it's being funded. As a scientist, you can progress your research a lot just by taking the time to write the proposal, because it helps you to develop new ideas. So it's worth investing time in writing proposals, not only for the funding, but also to help yourself develop and also to create new connections with other top-level researchers. I'd also advise you to use the supports available to you. Use the research offices in your institutions and engage with the national contact points as early as you can. They'll help you get into good research consortia and to identify calls. Thank you for your time. I hope you find the advice useful.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mack McLaughlin. I'm the coordinator and speaking on behalf of the coordination team of SHAPES, which is myself, Michael Cook, and Niamh Redmond. SHAPES stands for Smart and Healthy Aging Through People Engaging in Supportive Systems. And it's a European project led by the All Institute, Assisting Living and Learning Institute at Maynooth University. The project is over 48 months. It has around 210 staff. It's across 36 different organizations, and we work across 14 European countries. So that will be engaging over 2,000 older people in 15 different pilot sites. From a management perspective, we have 10 different work packages, and it's funded to 21 million euro. So how did we build the network? Well, we used prior existing contacts that we had ourselves, and we also specifically hired a couple of very good consultants based in mainland Europe. And between ourselves, we had basically identified very good people who we felt we could trust, and we also got them to identify good people who they felt they could trust. In the innovation action, which is what SHAPES is, we are going to build, pilot and deploy a large-scale EU standardized open platform. And the aim of this platform is to facilitate long-term healthy and active aging and the maintenance of a high-quality standard of life for people in the community. So we look at digital technologies, the ecosystem to support that, the marketplace around it, and also policy and systems recommendations. The question, how interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary are we? Well, we didn't even start, if you like, from that perspective. We started with what was the ask, what's the task that we need to achieve, what are the competencies we need to deliver on that, and then backing into what sort of people are going to be most appropriate. And then we find there's certainly most of the, I'd say probably all the health disciplines, most of the social science, and most of the computer science and engineering disciplines. But we didn't start from a disciplinary perspective. We started, of course, by answering the call. So in terms of the SHAPES partners, we have here the in green where they're located, and then also the pilot sites in the sort of goldy color. So basically a good distribution around Europe. You can see on the pie chart quite a lot of small and medium enterprise, 40%, about a third universities, and then we have NGOs, public sector bodies, research training organizations, and large-scale industry. This was the, I guess, the overall structure for it, the way in which we help people to understand the connectivity between the different strands, and at each meeting we revisit this. What lessons have been learned? Have a clear concept and a clear graphic so that everyone in the consortium can come together and basically say this is what we're about. Large consortia need a very high level of communications, not just from the communicators ourselves, from the coordinators ourselves, but also from work package leads and indeed task leads. As well as that, important to implement streamlined project management and communication software where possible. We also think it's really important to monitor resource allocation on a quarterly basis. So as well as your general assemblies and your program management boards, etc., to really track what people are doing and what they're claiming for, because that's a good sign of whether they're keeping up, not just with deliverables, but with other aspects of the work that might not be deliverables per se. Any change to the project will have knock-on effects because obviously there's a lot of integration in these sorts of projects. So to think through carefully any changes, and to, which I'm not at the moment, but to talk slowly, be kind and respectful to others, and to be decisive. So kind and respectful because, you know, people obviously coming from very different countries, different cultures, different disciplines, different ways of thinking, and really important to be respectful, but to be very decisive. And, you know, I think we find that if people can trust the goodness of your intentions, then they're okay to disagree with you every now and again, if they're sure that you have the overall good of the consortium in mind. And then finally, as a coordinator, even though it can be tempting in your own sort of small area, don't be an expert. Try and maintain the role of being the coordinator. In other words, looking at the process and the management of the project, and trying to pull out other experts to make points around expertise where that's appropriate. I look forward to hearing the other presentations. On behalf of SHAPES, thanks very much.